Sitting here with my tremendous wealth, I have nothing to do except watch the sunset. As the light slowly fades from the sky, I can just relax finally on a boat. Who wants to do that? Are you good? Guess I could. Yes. Yes. This is where I want to use my money truly, is gambling. Losing it all and getting nothing in return. This is the true way to win. Oh, well. Have you heard of doxing? Well, right now I'm going to dox myself. I live in the United States of America, and in the United States of America, every high school teenage person usually has to take a foreign language class. Now, that's not true for all schools. Some states don't have that requirement. My state definitely does have that requirement. But I need to learn a foreign language. And so in my 8th grade mind, I was thinking, what language should I learn? Should I learn Spanish, which I've learned for the past 7 years? Or should I learn French, which I know nothing about? Or, okay, that, as I was saying, I had to take a language class, and it could not be Spanish, couldn't be French. School didn't offer any other language but Latin, Sign Language, and Mandarin, which were all completely unfamiliar to me. Latin, I thought only nerds would take, and that's kind of true, but nonetheless, only the people who really wanted to go to law school from high school wanted to do that, so I didn't really take Latin, even though I did want to go to law school. Yeah, I don't know either. But I wanted something new, something exciting. And I did not choose ASL, so I'm sorry if you're watching this and you are blind, because I cannot
Deaf.
communicate there.
Deaf.
What am I? So I chose Mandarin, and it was a pretty good choice. I might tell a few more stories about it here and there, but today's story is one that's actually happened more recently rather than earlier in my high school career. So what happened was, as I learned more and more about the different languages at my school, it became clear that there was a tier list of hardest to easiest languages. Good thing I did not choose French, because as it turns out, French was the hardest. It was at the top of that tier list. And Mandarin was not necessarily the bottom, but still kind of like, okay, this is a difficult class, but if you put in enough effort, you can get through it. Which I feel like most classes should be kind of on that level, but no, apparently not. The drama all occurred when our class average for Chinese was an A minus or a B plus. I think that it was one of the two. It was not like amazing. It's not amazing to have that as an average, but it's not a bad average. I don't think you're getting an A minus. It's not terrible. Well, that's what I think, at least. Not the school's French teacher. See, Mandarin not only did it have a high average, but it was the second most popular language after Spanish. So, and French actually ranked close to the bottom of that list. Our French teacher had the reputation of an evil, controlling, kind of strict, narcissistic teacher. But I had no skin in the game. I mean, sure, one of my friends told, oh, yeah, one of my friends told me that that class was literal hell, but, maybe he was exaggerating. No, apparently not. Is that? I am not good at this game, as I think you can see I keep switching between games. It turns out the French teacher was kind of a cruel person, had a bad demeanor, and one day she saw, oh, everyone in Mandarin really loves this class. It seems like a fun class. People are saying you should take it. People are saying, wow, the French teacher, she makes you come in after school. So it's like, okay, well, maybe the Mandarin teacher is kind of nice. No, that's not what she thought. That's what any normal person would think. In fact, she said, no, the Mandarin teacher, he's too lax on his students. He needs to be more strict. His students need to feel more of a pain. And in fact, he told my teacher specifically in the all department meeting that they should be giving out more F's and D's to the students. Now, as a high school teacher, I don't get how are you going to be saying, I want to give more people F's and D's, they deserve it. What is the thought process there? I simply don't understand it. But for some people, it's a very reasonable request. I guess for my French teacher. I actually thought. As it turns out, she was the one who was thinking we need to give more students D's and F's. I think she just got jealous because her class average was a C. That is not good. I mean, except if you're like trying to follow the normal curve. Yeah, it's second. Maybe she was jealous of my teacher, and so they were discussing in this meeting like how do we get like grades to be like the same across all the languages? You know, how do we kind of make it as fair as possible? Which, first of all, fair. I mean, they're different languages. It's like you're speaking different languages. You're not going to have any fairness at all. But second was what came next. Now, this is an account from someone else who was at the meeting, but I'm shocked that this happened. I'm like, is this racist? Because then what happened was during the meeting, the French teacher goes and whispers in the Chinese teacher's ear and says, "It's because all your kids are Asian." And I'm like, what? And she's like, "It's all your kids are Asian and they're nerds." And I'm like, how do you say something in that like that when your boss is right there in front of you and you're trying to make the case that their students are not being punished, but at the same time you're saying that's the only reason that they're doing better? Like, how do you even come up with this excuse? I don't get it, but apparently for my French teacher, it was very, very sensible. But unfortunately, the story does not end there. So like life keeps on moving pretty much because like sure the French teacher had been racist a little bit before. This was a little bit racist. I mean, put in the comments if you think it's actually racist or just maybe racist. But then the next thing that happened was probably racist. It's kind of weird to like categorize these, but like on a tier list of racists, I'd say on a tier list as racists go, right? I feel like the French teacher's like maybe B tier racist, like maybe C tier, not like hardcore like racist, but not like, you know, absolutely not racist. Like she's like said some racist things. But then I wonder like okay, that's not like a big deal story. Like that is like bad, but like anyways, what happened next is a little bit racist. So basically, she says, okay, well, these kids, obviously, they're Asian and they're not getting punished. That sounds a lot weird, right? These kids need to have something, bro. Anyways, so she sees 4 students studying together. I'm actually turning off chat. And says, okay, I need to get down their names. So she says, what's your name? And one of them explains
Name.
And she's like, okay, well, you're going to get punished for this. You're going to get a big punishment after this. And what happens is she emails our Mandarin teacher and says 4 students were there. And they need to get punished. They're of your junior class. And one of them was named...
Name.
The funniest thing is that
Name.
it was actually a senior. She didn't even ask or bother to know what age they are. She just assumed. But no. That's not even the worst assumption she made. Because later, in that same email, sent at 5 p.m. the day before our break, by the way, so that my teacher had no option to respond, she says, and there were 3 other students who were cheating with him. You need to punish them appropriately. This is your job. Right? And I'm just wondering, what could possibly have gone on? Just saying, like, they were back talking to me. It turns out, what actually happened was
None of that. All that happened was that they were studying together and then the teacher found them and she considered studying cheating. So my teacher said, well, I don't consider studying cheating, so she didn't give us any punishment. But it was still weird considering that only 3 of those students were from our Mandarin class, and one of them was just some random Asian who my French teacher assumed to be taking Mandarin. So this, combined with the other incident, probably puts her pretty high up on the racist scale. But, you know, she's still a French teacher. So I'm thinking, should I report her to the dean? Should I tell anyone about this? But no, instead I decided to make a YouTube video where... Oh, that was pretty fast. And so I was
Yeah.
really unsure what to do about this, so I just didn't tell anyone except you now. So, you're in the secret now. And our French teacher's still at the school, and she's still racist, but what can you do? She's not the only racist at my school, so she's not the first, and I'm sure she won't be the last. But yeah, if you want to hear more about my Mandarin teacher or what happened in that class, let me know. Otherwise, I'll probably make a video on it anyways. I mean, it's the majority of my life, but yeah, after that day, the whole class was in shock. We've decided to declare war against the French students, so if you take French, know that I'm coming out for you and I will find you. Thanks. See ya.